this morning. We're so pleased to welcome Annette.
Good morning, everybody. I'm amazed. I was thinking this morning, if I wasn't speaking, would I be out? It's like, and I'm thinking, it's so amazing. You can tell we're Minnesotans. We're tough, we're resilient, and we brave the 15 below weather. So I love this. The theme for this month is continuing the light, or bringing in the light. So as I was thinking about my topic for this morning, I really felt it was important to talk about our children, because our children are the ones that will be continuing and are continuing, have been continuing to bring in the light. And if we're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, no matter who we are, we have children around us. And even if they're not physically in our life, we have to understand who these souls are that are incarnating on our planet right now, and have been for many years. So this morning's topic is about who these children are, how to recognize them, what they are teaching us, because they are coming in filled with light, filled with wisdom, and we need to pay attention. So my own journey started back in the middle 90s. I made a choice to go to Virginia Beach. I was at the Casey Riley School of Massage. So if you ever have heard of Edgar Casey, if you haven't, look him up, he's amazing. So that was the start of my expansion, my opening. And when I was done with massage school, my daughter had a child, a little girl, and I didn't realize it at the time, but she was there. She came in at a time when I was expanding, and she helped in my expansion. I found out several years later that she's a dolphin child, and we're going to talk about what dolphin childs are about, what dolphin children are about. But she really helped me expand and to grow in my spiritual awareness. I wasn't aware of it at the time. I wasn't totally conscious of it, but I did become more conscious of it as the years went on. So in 2001, I ended up taking a meditation class called the Inner Diamond. It's a program created by Marie Diamond, who is my business partner now. She lives in Europe. And the meditation program is about helping us connect consciously with higher states of awareness. So we do that in meditation, but this program is about opening us up consciously. So we're going to go into a meditation at the end of today's talk that I want to take you consciously into these different levels, these different realms. The other part of that meditation was about connecting in with the quantum field and with quantum frequencies. So the quantum frequencies that I connected with were 24 aspects of the quantum field. So they're called angles of light. Some people refer to them as angels or archangels, but they're frequencies that help us reconnect with our oneness. They help create balance within our field. So for instance, there's something called, there's the peach frequency for joy. It's a masculine frequency that uplifts us and brings us and connects us with divine joy. The feminine frequency of that is the orange for celebration. So the masculine frequencies help uplift us, bring us back into and connect us back to spirit. The feminine frequencies help us embody and connect deeper and anchor these frequencies within ourselves. So I started working with these 24 frequencies of light, colors, and I just loved it. Like, oh, I can bring in this color and this color. So to give you an example of one of the experiences I had, I started playing with these colors. So one of the colors that I was really connecting with at the time was the aqua. So aqua frequency is about clarity. It brings clarity into our lives, brings clarity into what we need to see, what we're attached to, just expands us in that way. So I was playing with this color for a while, and when I was working with the colors, and I still do, they're in the quantum field, so you have to bring your awareness an arm's length above your head to connect in with these frequencies. They don't live here. They live in us, but they're not around us until we bring them in. So you go to an arm's length above your head, connect with your quantum point, and bring in that frequency so you can connect in with it more. So I was doing that with the aqua frequency for about a week. And one day I went to the grocery store, and all I saw as I walked in the grocery store was aqua. Everybody had aqua shoes, aqua hats, aqua shirts, and it's like aqua popped out at me everywhere I went for the next couple days. So it's the law of attraction. If we fill ourselves with a frequency, we attract that frequency to us. All right? So I started playing with that, and the colors are really fun. So at the time, I also had a physical office space. I was still doing some massage, started to do a lot of energy work, craniosacral work, and I started attracting children into my practice. So mothers would call me up and say, this is going on with my child. Nobody can help. So I heard about you. I see if you can do something. So these children started coming into my practice, and I thought, misperception, that I was going to help them. It's like, oh, I've got these new tools. I'm working with these colors. I've got these frequencies. I can connect in. I can see who they are energetically. I'm going to help them. Well, it turns out they helped me. It was a mutual kind of a situation. So I did help them, but in return, I got to see who these children were that were coming in. And one of the things I found is they already had the colors. So all these colors that I was so excited about, they had them already. They knew them. So a couple things that happened. One little boy, this was one of the first experiences I had. He was 9 years old, and his mom brought him in. He was having some health problems, and she couldn't get to the bottom of it. So he came in, and one of the things I learned very quickly with the children is, in order to keep them engaged and quiet on the table, I had them close their eyes and report the colors that they were seeing to me. So they reported back these colors. So this 9-year-old boy is laying on my table. I always had the parents in the room, so they were part of the experience. So I would ask, what colors are you seeing? So this one little boy, he said, I see red, there's some black, white's coming in, now it's all red. Now I see orange, brown's coming in, or brown is there, white's coming in, now it's all orange. Now I see yellow, brown is there, white's coming in, and now it's all yellow. So this little boy went through all of the colors of his chakras. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. This 9-year-old boy, I'm sure, had never heard of chakras, absolutely didn't know the colors of the chakras, but he was reporting to me that as I was helping him clear his chakras, he confirmed that his chakras were being cleared. Okay? So that was his session. That was what his session was about. Got up, felt wonderful. So he had been picking up all this energy, and he just needed to get rid of it. That's all he needed to do. Another little boy came in, and this one blew me away. So this was a little 6-year-old. So his mom brought him in with a headache that he had it for about 6 months. Couldn't get rid of it, took him to a doctor, absolutely nothing touched it. So I was their last resort. Well, nothing else is working, let's bring him to Annette. Okay. So this little 6-year-old was on my table, and he got bored very quickly. So it's like, I don't want to see the colors. It's like, I don't want to tell you that. I'm going, okay, well, so I always believed that they inspired me to help them. So the thought came in, okay, where does your head hurt? He pointed to his head. I said, okay, what color does that part of your head need? Blue. Can you fill your head with blue? Yeah. So he filled his head with blue. Where else does it hurt? Here. So he showed me 3 or 4 places that hurt. Every place he pointed needed a different color, and he filled the part of his head with that color. And after 8 minutes, does your head hurt? No, it's all gone. So he basically healed himself knowing what frequency or what color he needed in that particular space. And so I just told his mom, it took maybe 10 minutes for the whole session, said, okay, when he gets his headache again, just do the same thing. Take him home, ask what color he needs, you'll fill it with the color, and his headache will go away, right? So these kids came in and started teaching me that they already were connected with this quantum frequency, these colors that are around us, they're in us, and all we have to do is connect. So we have, I call it the language of color. Okay, we start working with color, and when we start working with kids, we can ask them, what color do you see? I have a little granddaughter when she was 3, so I wanted to kind of try this out with one of my grandkids. So I knew she was very open. She's one of the kids that we're going to talk about this morning. And so I'm out for a walk with her, and I just asked, what color is your dad? Green. Like, no thought, no having to think about it. He's green. What color is your mom? Silver. I'm thinking, what 3-year-old talks about the color silver? You know, it's yellow, it's red, it's orange, it's green, it's blue. Who knows silver? Okay? So when we start working with our kids, if we have the language of color, we can start asking them about it. And they'll respond back to confirm that they already have this. So when little kids start drawing people, and the people are blue or green or yellow or orange, we have to pay attention because they're seeing the aura field around people. They are drawing what they see. And what's happened over the years, and I've talked to a lot of adults that used to see like this, and they would be at school in kindergarten or first grade drawing something, and the teacher would go, no, that's not the color of people. Here's flesh color, draw them this color. And so we've stopped a lot of this information in previous generations. But as we start learning about these kids and who they are, we can support them in, oh, so that person's green. Oh, what does that mean? So we can start having open conversations with our children in a different way and support what they're seeing instead of stopping it and saying, no, they're not that color. Okay? So over the years then, as I continued to work with children, I learned more about who these kids were that are coming in and bringing in the light into this planet. There are millions of souls that have incarnated on this planet to uplift humanity, to help humanity evolve, and also to help the earth. So one of the first groups of children that came in are called the indigos. So you might have heard about the indigo children. And when I talk about these souls, there was a main group that came in at a certain point, but they're still continuing to be born. It's not like they stopped coming in. But a huge group of them started coming in the 70s, the 80s. And these are the kids. I'm going to talk about their purpose and what they did. But these indigos, they were here to break up energy. So I like to use the analogy of a field. So if you think of a farmer's field that had rocks and huge clumps of dirt and density, they were here to break that energy up. They had to get a more refined energy for future souls to come in. So these are the kids that didn't fit in a lot of our systems. These are the indigos that went to school, they were put on Ritalin, they didn't fit into, they were the round hole in the square peg, or a round peg in a square shape. Whatever that is. How does that term go? Yeah, yeah, it's like, they don't fit. So the indigos were actually, there's 3 types of indigos. One is very techie. They're in the technological field. I think my brain's a little frozen from the 15 degree to minus 15. So we have the techies. I have a grandson who, at the age of 1.5, knew how to turn on the DVD. Everything was tech. The remotes, he got it. I remember one time he was sitting on my lap. He was 4 or 5 years old. We're at the computer, and this is when I still had a desktop and a mouse and everything. He was operating and navigating the computer faster than I could. I was like, he knew a page, he knew where to go. He was amazing. Okay, so we have the techies. There's also indigos that are very artistic. So they're in the more the artistic field. And then the third kind is more of the intellectual. So there's actually 3 types of indigos, but they're in shifting the systems. So if you look at, since the 70s and 80s, what we're doing different in our education system, they didn't fit into sitting in a classroom and learning in an old way. So there's a lot of other wonderful ways that their parents and adults are finding of how these kids can learn that is so different than how we grew up. Okay, so it's good. So they're changing systems. A lot of these kids now are in their 20s, 30s, some of them are in their 40s, and now they're grown up. A lot of them have, I would say, cleansed their systems from the Ritalin, from all the drugs that they were put on. I've talked to a lot of young adults that have done a lot of cleansing, meditation. They know who they are on some level, and they're in our systems now shifting that. One of the things that I keep hearing from a lot of older people in politics, in our health system, in our education system, is wait 20 years. These kids that are now young adults, they will change our systems in the next 20 years. And we're seeing a lot of that already, but it will continue to happen. So I'm excited for the next 20 years because these kids are going to make a difference. So they were the ones that were in the field, breaking up, throwing out the rocks, breaking up the clumps of clay, getting the field ready for the next type of soul to come in. And the next type of soul that came in, basically in the 90s, were the dolphins. So the dolphin souls came in, and each one of these children have a certain vibration. So the dolphins had a little bit more refined vibration. And as they came in, they came in with the purpose of uplifting. So if you think about the indigos planting seeds, the dolphins helped the seeds grow. It's like, come back to spirit, come back to light. And they did that a lot in a very playful, joyful way. So dolphin children, for the most part, are very playful. They're very creative. So I have an example of most of these children in my own family. So I'll give you an example of a dolphin creativity, the way they think. So I have a step-granddaughter who, when she was 3, she lived in a bi-level home at the time, and she was upstairs, and she talked to her mom. She said, "Mommy, I want my dolly." I said, "Well," Mom said, "go get your doll." She said, "No, it's downstairs. You go get it." Mom said, "No, you can walk. You go get your doll." So that it went on like this for a couple minutes. Mom wouldn't get the doll. So the 3-year-old goes sit in the corner, and she's kind of like got her head in her knees, and she's sitting there for like 5 minutes, like she's pouting. But she wasn't pouting. She was thinking. So she comes out after 5 minutes and says, "Mom, but my dolly needs her buggy, and I can't carry the buggy upstairs." So the mom goes downstairs, gets the dolly in the buggy, brings it upstairs. She takes the doll, leaves the buggy, and goes plays in her bedroom. Okay? Those are dolphin kids. They are solution finders, and they will come up with a solution. Okay? We need these souls right now because they will think of things that we haven't thought of. Okay? New ways of doing things. And they're also very, like when you have a dolphin child, when you're with a dolphin child, if you're playing a game, they will not play the game the same way for very long. It's like, play a game, it's like, oh, let's do it different. Let's play it this way. So they're constantly looking at doing things different. And when these children grow up, so they were born in the 90s, they're young adults. They're going to get very creative on how we can do things different in our systems, in our life, in our society, in our politics. That will change in the next 20 years. I was just talking to somebody a couple weeks ago. They have a dolphin, she has a dolphin grandson. So they're in the car, the grandson's 11 years old, and it was raining outside, and there's something, and the wipers were on, and he said, "Grandma, why don't they ever do this with the wipers?" So he's looking at something as simple as windshield wipers and going, why don't they do this? And so the grandma is saying, "Well, I can't wait till he grows up so we can patent that his idea, and he's going to make a lot of money on it because it was amazing." I said, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know." I said, "Don't wait until he's 20 or 18 or 19. Do it now. Patent that idea now. If he's coming up with it." So whatever he did as he's looking at these windshield wipers, it was amazing. It was so creative. It's like, why didn't I ever think of that? And she said it was such a simple thing. So I can't wait to see what it is. I said, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Just tell me when it's out." So those are our dolphin kids. Now, one other experience I recently had, I was talking to a mom, and I recently did a parenting program to help parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. This isn't just for parents. I believe we're all parents to these children. But anyway, this mom, we did personal sessions for her daughter, and she wanted to know who her daughter was and how to work with her and support her. So she was a dolphin child, 7 years old, and the mom is going, "Well, we're getting to these arguments because I want her to take a shower and she wants to take a bath." All right? So dolphins need water. Dolphin children love water. So if you have a child, grandchild, niece, nephew that absolutely loves water, that's one of your indicators that it's a dolphin child. Okay? So I'm telling this mom, don't argue with her. Let her take a bath. My daughter, when my granddaughter was growing up, we didn't know this information, but my daughter was intuitive enough that when her daughter needed a bath or wanted a bath, she gave her a bath, She would play in the bathtub sometimes for an hour and a half at night. And my daughter just let her play. So these dolphin kids, they need water. They love to swim. They're very playful. They're very creative. So those are some ways you can recognize dolphin children. So the dolphin kids came up to uplift us. Like, get creative. Let's have some different ways of thinking about things. Let's have some different way of seeing the world around us. Very, very amazing children. Okay, so they kind of uplifted us. The next, they prepared the field for the next type of children that come in, and these are the crystal children. So the crystal children, these are, let's talk about this for a minute. Each one of these types of souls, types of children, they're very highly evolved. And when we talk about evolution on a soul level, there are certain soul initiations that a soul reaches. It's an awakened state, and they're more expanded, more conscious. So there are 4 levels of initiation to reach what's called enlightenment. So enlightenment is basically when your soul reconnects to the oneness. You remember that you are one with the universe, one with God, one with the wholeness. Okay? So it's a matter of remembering and becoming lighter. So we release our density, we release our karma, we release our attachments and illusions, so we become lighter and lighter, and it's like, all of a sudden, it's like our vibration is so light, it's like, whoop, we're back to the oneness and we reconnect. So the indigos and the dolphins came in at their 3rd and 4th initiation. They were filled with light. Okay, so it's called advanced souls. They're very advanced. These kids know who they are, but we also have to remember that they still have karma. They still have karmic experiences, karma lifetimes. There's still some density, but not as much as a lot of other people around them. So they're holding more light for us. So when it comes to our crystal children, there's something called the 5th initiation, and it's also known as ascension. So in the past, when a soul reached that 5th initiation in their soul evolution, the earth was so dense, it wasn't vibrating high enough, and they would need to leave the body. Their soul would continue their evolution outside of a physical body, outside of this planet. Okay. By the time we were around 1997, 98, the Earth's vibration had shifted enough that we were out of the 3rd dimension. We had connected more with 4th dimensional energy. The energy of this entire planet shifted, and it was lighter. And at that point, souls that reached that level of initiation had a choice. You could stay in a body, or you can continue your evolution outside of a body. Okay. At that time, after 1998, the crystal children could start coming in. Now, these are souls in a previous incarnation that had reached their 5th initiation, ascension, and now they could come back. They had a choice of coming back in their bodies, incarnating, to bring in more light for this planet and to help people around them, their families, but the planet overall. So these are ascended beings, ascended souls that made a conscious choice to come back to help us right now. And there are millions around the planet of ascended beings who have come back. And these are our crystal children. So the crystal children, when I have connected in with crystal children, they will sit And the parents might go in a room and they might find their children sitting in a meditation position, like a Buddhic pose with their hands on their knees, like you see in this meditation. And the children are just doing that. They know how to do that. The words of wisdom that come out of these crystal children's mouths are amazing. One example, my business partner, Marie, has a crystal child. So I could see this crystal child grow up and some of the things that she did. So one of the things that I remember when she was about 4 years old, Marie, their family was invited to this family gathering, and it turned out that whoever invited everybody, there were their personal friends and their business friends. So when they got there, all the personal friends were inside, all the business friends were outside on the patio, and there were these two separate groups. So Marie watched her child pick up this little crystal that happened to be on the table, and Enya would just walk around carrying this crystal, go outside, and come back inside, and walk around the group inside, and put it down. And then she would go and play. And she'd come back and pick up the crystal and do it again. And each time she did that, a few people came from outside to inside, and a few people went from inside to outside. And after the third time that she did that, there was this intermingling of both groups. Okay? So crystal children understand the field of oneness, and they're here to bring that field of oneness into our lives. If they're born into a family, they're bringing that frequency, that intention into the world. They bring us back into a field of oneness. So it was a very simple demonstration of how they do that, even at the age of 4. They know this. One other example I want to share on this is I was at a class in California. I lived in California for 4 years, and Marie was teaching one of the advanced Inner Diamond meditation classes. So in this class, we were connecting in with the elephants. So the elephants are very highly evolved beings that are on this planet, if we realize it at this point or not. But they're here to help balance and connect the 4 kingdoms. We're going to talk about that next with the moon children. So so we were learning about the elephants and their purpose and connecting with them energetically. And Marie at the class was talking about how they connect trunks to tails, and how they walk connecting their trunks and tails and creating this field of oneness. So we go back to Marie's house for dinner at night, and we're doing a little meditation in her yard. And her daughter comes. Daughter wasn't at the class. Now Enya is probably 5 years old. So Enya comes and joins us at the last part, and we're walking back to the house. She said, "Okay, everyone, we're going to walk like elephants back to the house, and everyone take the hand above, behind and in front of them, and we're going to walk like elephants back to the house." So these kids, they're so tuned into the field that they pick up information and confirm it for us. So she knew that we had been talking about it, and she basically, let's act it out now. Okay. So the crystal, I always pay attention to crystal children. They bring in nuggets of wisdom that we need to pay attention to, because they know the field of oneness. They know how to create that. So crystal children, very enlightened, aware, conscious, amazing children. Again, but still have karma, because they're not back into the total field of oneness. So anything that creates separation for these kids will still show up, even after they're incarnated in a body. So then the next type of child that came in, starting around 2003, 2004. So the crystals brought us into a higher vibration, And once we connect with higher and higher fields of light, we have to do something with that light. We have to anchor it. We have to ground it. So the Moon Kids came in, and they're helping us anchor and connect this light with the 4 kingdoms of the planet, of the Earth. So there are 4 kingdoms. There's a mineral, plant, animal, human kingdom. So every time I work with a moon child, one of the first times I worked with one, I was connecting in with her on a soul level, and I just kept seeing horses. Horses, horses, horses were all around her. So I'm talking to Mom, I think, and I said to Mom, she's working with horses, she's a moon child, and she's working in the horse kingdom right now. So make sure you have horses around her. Could be a stuffed horse, could be an image, but it's like it'll support her work that she's doing with the horse kingdom. So the mom said, oh, well, my mom just moved to a place and they have all these horses next to her house, and she spends half her day on the fence talking to the horses. I'll go, oh, well, there you go. There's the work she's doing, okay? And it doesn't mean that their whole life is working with horses. When I look at moon children, some of them will be working with the mineral kingdom. My husband and I have 2 moon grandchildren. His grandson, go to his house in his bedroom. He loves rocks and crystals. He'll come to our house and I have crystals, and he gravitates to that. And then he picks one up and he says, oh, I love this crystal. Can I have it? So you go into his bedroom and he's got all these rocks and crystals. So he's working in that field. I have a granddaughter, the one that sees colors, and she's a moon child, and she's very connected with fairies. So I was actually talking to my daughter this morning, and she reminded me, so we're talking about what I was going to talk about today, and she asked, and I had told her this a while ago, that Eiley was a moon child. She said, well, what does that mean? I said, well, a lot of them are connected with fairies. They're connected with earth energies. And she's going, oh, yeah. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when Eiley was 2, she would go outside and she would pick up fairies out of the ground and send them back into the trees. And she would be going around in her yard going, oh, fairy, here, go back to the tree. And that was her play, okay? So when I see these moon kids, again, they're connecting in with this light that's available, and now they're anchoring it into these kingdoms of the earth. And we're helping create a field of oneness into and with these different kingdoms. So if you look at what's happened since early 2000s, there's all these kids shows about fairies, about mermaids, about all these different beings working with Mother Earth. These kids are loving these shows. For I don't know how many years, Eiley just couldn't get enough of fairies. So we have to pay attention. What are they drawn to? What are they bringing in, or what are they connecting with? So those are the moon children. And the last one that is started coming in 2012. So December 21st, 2012, there was this direct alignment in our universe, and we shifted into the 5th dimension. Okay, so we were working from the 3rd, we shifted into the 4th in 1987, harmonic convergence. 2000, I think it was 4, harmonic concordance. There was another alignment that prepared us, and our final alignment was December 21st, 2012, and the Earth began its shift into the 5th dimension. Every time the Earth raises its vibration, it allows a higher vibrational soul to come in. So the last soul that I'm aware of that came in was 2012, and they're called the Diamond Children. And the Diamond Children, if there's the ascended beings are 5th initiated souls, these are 6th initiated souls. Very, very highly evolved souls. And there's not many of them. There's 12 of them on this planet that I'm aware of. One of them I have a relationship with in California. And these children, and think of it as being very connected and knowing what's going on. So this little boy that I know, his name is Raphael, and right now he's about 4.5. So I have known his mother for a while. She's taken all of the diamond classes, and she calls me when different things are going on. So she called me about a year ago, and she said, I thought you might want to know what Raphael did yesterday. So he's on the floor in their apartment, and he's kind of on his side, and he's going like this, and he's kicking his legs and going like this, and he's talking. He's going, no, go this way. No, go this way. No, go this way. And he keeps turning. So she's watching him for about 10 minutes, and she doesn't interfere. It's like, he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but I trust he's doing something. So that night on the news, they're looking at the news, and they live in San Diego, and they're watching the news story about a whale that almost beached itself in San Diego on the beach. And it didn't get beached, but it went into shallow water. And she knew that her son was guiding that whale out. And the whale did get free. It didn't get beached. So this child happens to be very connected with the whales. When she was pregnant with him, everything was about whales. She kept attracting whales all over the place. So we're bringing in, the planet, because of its vibrational field, its vibrational level, is energetically supporting these children. And we have to believe, first of all, that we are getting this amazing support from these souls. Every one of them, as they come in and incarnate, are bringing light into our families, into our planets. But we also have to pay attention to these souls, and I know they're in children's bodies, but on a soul level, they are filled with wisdom. They are filled with light, and we need to keep them awake. We need to support them. We need to believe them and trust them when they say what they see. These kids are letting us know what lives around us in other dimensions. So a lot of these kids will see spirits, a lot will feel energy. So we need to make sure that they're in an environmentally uplifted space. This is why I do the dowsing. I have a indigo grandson that 6 months before I learned how to douse, he moved into a new house, started having terrible tantrums. When I learned how to douse, I found out his new bedroom he was sleeping right next to a negative vortex. And the only way he could tell us that something terrible was going on, that it wasn't okay, were these terrible tantrums. So I cured the vortex, tantrums went away. So these kids are aware. They're sensitive to the energy in their environments, so we need to pay attention to what they're telling us. And one of the big things, and we don't have a lot of time to go into the dowsing piece, but pay attention to the children. And if they're not sleeping in their rooms, there is something wrong with their bedroom. And we cannot force them to go to sleep if they're not able to sleep in their bedroom. They have bad dreams, night sweats, night terrors. They're telling us that something is not okay. I have a niece that when she was born, my brother ended up really believing in the dowsing after an experience in his house. And his niece, before she was born, he asked me to come in and make sure that the room was doused. And she always went to sleep wonderfully. She woke up singing. She was always happy in her bedroom. When she was about 2.5, my brother called and said, could you check Maggie's bedroom? I think something's off. She won't go in her bedroom anymore. So I checked the bedroom distance. I do distance dowsing. Sure enough, a negative vortex had opened up, like right inside her doorway. So the energy of the earth continues to shift and change, so we have to kind of adjust to that. So I cured it. 5 minutes later, after he cured it, I showed him how to cure it. She was in there and happy and playing in her room. So when these kids are in these supportive, uplifted, protected spaces, they thrive. They can stay connected with their light and continue to be on purpose of what they're doing on this planet right now. And we need to begin to recognize them and know how to support them and how we can help them. Okay. So, how much time do I have, Gary? I'm good? So what I'd like to do right now is take you into a visualization, meditation. So begin by thinking...
No, we really don't have time for it. Your time's up. So.
Oh, my time's up?
Yeah.
Oh, well...
You need to do the offering and then you can do something else.
Oh, okay. So my time's up. I do have... I'll just finish with one sentence. I brought in a clipboard out there with an email if you want to sign up for my newsletter. I have created a program, conscious parenting program, but again, it's for adults, anybody with a child in their life. It gives you some tools, meditations, visualizations, more information about how you can support children. So as we continue to and I'm also going to be doing a one-day class. So if you sign up, you'll get an email with more information. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Is it true you have a book coming out? Oh, yes, I have a book coming out. It's actually being submitted to the publisher in January. It's called Soul Whisperer, Encounters with Earthbound Spirits. So it's about helping understand the spirit realm and how spirits get stuck. And a lot of our kids are seen spirits, so we need to pay attention when they tell us there's a ghost in their room or somebody in their room that we don't see, because they're helping us to see these things. So thank you. So I'm going to be around if you have any. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right. So as we close our circle today, and I love circles because they're a container. So let's intend today that we create a container, a space that holds our children of light. So as you close your eyes, take a deep breath. And the easiest way to connect with the souls of these children is by bringing your awareness an arm's length above your head. And an arm's length above your head, you have a ball of white light. This is your connection point to the quantum field. And it's easiest to connect with these children when we are in the field where they exist. So as our group holds this space, this container, let's fill it with unconditional love, the rose light, the rose frequency, and we send this unconditional love out through our quantum point. We raise it to that vibrational level, and from our own quantum points, we connect in with the children, the indigos, the dolphins, the crystals, the moon, the diamond, and send them unconditional love, knowing who they are, supporting them in their purpose for being here, and sending them gratitude for making that decision to be with us, to be among us, to share their wisdom, to awaken this planet, and to continue the light. And I invite you to be aware, be conscious as you move from this space, knowing who these children are, and begin seeing the children around us with new eyes. I thank all of you for being here, for continuing to support our children. Thank you. Woo-hoo.